Hey you guys, how's it going? Hope you're all hanging in there. So I know I said I wasn't going to do this until I had a chance to get the minis out to you guys who subscribe to the monthly minis, but I just I don't know, I just couldn't wait, and I was ready. I had the listings ready, so I thought I'm just going to list them to do the larger ones. So these are kind of just basically a larger version of what the minis were for July. And those are going out on Monday. I printed the labels today, and so they're all getting packed up tonight. Anyway, so I just wanted to show these to you guys because I just love them. I just thought, I watched one of Karla's videos, one of Karla Frizzelle's videos where she, was showing some fabric journals that she made, and I was just super, super inspired. And so I just pulled out a whole bunch of fabrics and started going through them, and I really wanted to use some ticking cloth, and just because I love it. And I also had this pair of coveralls, these old coveralls that somebody probably wore working in, out on a farm or in a garage or something like that, decades ago. And I just love this fabric. So that's what this is. It's a denim, but it's got that kind of like stripy, almost like herringbone sort of pattern. So there's a number of them that have this fabric. And then I just incorporated the ticking cloth into them. So I made 14 of these larger fabric journals. I did use a file folder as the base, and then I did the inside covers in the larger ones with a feed sack fabric. So I had some yardage of some feed sacks, and so I wanted to use those. And that, just kind of goes along with that same era, sort of mid-century kind of era. Anyway, so yeah, and they're like a trifold sort of style, and then I also wanted them to be like a traveler's notebook type of thing with an insert, so you could add another journal or another insert into them if you wanted to. So there's two elastics, and then this one is it's actually bound, so this won't come apart if you take it out. And then all the goodies that I wanted to add in, I just put them all in the center pocket there. Okay, so you can put stuff wherever you want. And then there's let's see, where do I go? Let me move a couple of these out of the way, and then I'll show you from front to back. Okay. So then also I was, in searching through my fabrics, I came across some Kantha fabric, which is actually from India, but it's also pretty old. And I just thought that it looked really nice. The kind of floral patterns with this, this old denim and the ticking cloth, just, I don't know. I just thought it looked sort of country, so I like that. So I used that to make some of the pockets, and then just some duck cloth as the second layer. So you've actually got two pockets on the front cover. Okay. And then I just tucked a piece of, I coffee dyed some ledger pages, just because I wanted them to look a little bit older. And this particular ledger was really white, like real bright white. And I love how all of the lines faded out when I coffee dyed it. So when it got wet, except for that top line. But I love the printed stuff on here. But all of the numbers that were written in ink, those stayed, and all the lines just faded away. So anyway, and it's a real nice heavy ledger paper. Anyway, so I just tucked a piece of that in the front pocket there. And then the charm, this is just the stock number. I reproduced some of those price tags that I bought off of a shop on Etsy, I just scanned them and then printed them off a little bit smaller, and then layered them on a couple, glued one onto a couple layers of cardstock. So, and then just added a little eyelet to make it into a little charm. And then I used some of the old milk caps as charms, some postage stamps, and then this is another one of those price tags. So I printed them a little smaller than actual size and just made it into a charm. You can turn anything into a charm, you know. And then I did a kind of a like a scrappy trim type of thing with real thin strips of some vintage sheets, and then some of that denim, and then some ticking and that kind of thing. So, and then on the end of each one, I added a pretty large jump ring onto a little loop, and then added one of those little number like tags onto that ring. Okay, so that works really nicely to sort of tuck your fabric or tuck your tie back in when you close the journal. So you can just kind of slip it under like that and pull, you know. And I like this type of wraparound closure for like a traveler's notebook style journal, because you could make this really fat and this would still work to close it. Like it's like, you know, there's a lot of room to grow. And then I just used some of those sewer bee images on a couple layers of paper and just use that as a pocket on the inside cover. And then I put together a little collection of some random bits. There's a couple of shipping tags in here. Let me move this out of the way. There's some shipping tags that are blank, and then a sheet of green stamps, some little tickets, a couple of these little tickets that I made with collage, and then I gave you like a little, I don't know, 5 or 6 little tabs that I cut out, and then some of my labels that I've made using the label stamps, just printed or just stamped onto ledger paper, and then some postage stamps. So you could just use those, you know, on the pages however you want, or whatever you want to do with them. And then these are all tucked into a vintage glassine envelope that has been used for, you know, by a stamp collector at some point. Okay, so that just tucks into that front pocket. And then I used some Tim Holtz papers in these, and some old vintage book pages, some resume paper, this is some ledger. I used a few French book pages, and I love this format where it's kind of tall, so I could use a page folded vertically in half, so you could have this little, almost like a half page. So that way you could add something onto that if you want to, like, you know, you could glue a picture or a little note or something onto the edge of that. And I just like the way that works out. And then some other scrapbook papers, some avocado dyed paper, one of those 5-year diaries that I took apart, used one of those, some other ledger. This is the well, no, this isn't. I thought this was the same ledger as that, but it's not. This is a different one. And I folded the bottom section of the page up so that you could either use this as a pocket, or you could just, you know, cut that, trim, use your, you know, like an X-Acto or something, and cut that down so you could have a little part that flips down or whatever, you know. I just like to leave those sometimes. Some more Tim Holtz scrapbook paper. And then in these large ones, in these larger journals, I used one of these smaller cornmeal bags that I picked up off of eBay. This is some vintage accounting paper or ledger paper. This is from one of those like 20,000 words books. It's like how to split words up by syllable, you know, and correct spelling and stuff. An old music book that I just love the names of the songs, Country Gardens, and it's really beautiful, the color of it. This is another piece of like a notebook. One of the letters to the Bank of Lind, and then some of my wrapping paper, my, that I love to use. And then this is one of those pieces of wrapping paper. And another page of ledger. Oh, this is the ledger that this came from. So this is what it looked like before I coffee dyed it. So you can see all the lines are still there. And in the ones that I dyed, all of those lines faded away. So I kind of like that. Some French vocabulary pages, some more scrapbook paper, and then I did an avocado dyed envelope in the center of each journal, and then I just added in a whole bunch of other things that you can use, journaling cards or whatever, some more pockets and stuff like that. So you could add pockets wherever you want in your journal. Again, this is one of those price tags that I scanned and reproduced. This is just a little paper envelope and a little bird identification card, a couple of coffee dyed library pockets, canceled check from the Bank of Lind, and then a couple of glassine envelopes, different styles, some coffee dyed paper. This is some coffee dyed drawing paper that was like in a small notebook, an alteration tag, one of those old French index cards with some French writing on it with a grid paper design. A couple of those flashcards that I picked up yesterday at the farm sale. This was a ledger. I don't know if anybody remembers that blue trifold little pocket ledger that I had shown one time, and I thought about trying to reproduce it. This is the paper that was in that little book. And then I added a piece of the what is this stuff called? Wallpaper that I picked up also at that farm sale. And I had somebody comment on that video. It was a haul video that I just did, and said that they looked up those books of wallpaper, and one of them was Montgomery Ward's and the other one was a Sears book, and they said they were selling for like $179 or something. I never looked them up on eBay or Etsy or any place like that, because I knew I was going to just take them apart and start scanning them. So anyway, but they are both from the 20s. So one of them I think was 1923 and one is like 1929. But they're just beautiful old wallpapers. So I gave you a full page in these tall journals. So that's, some of the, I just thought, it's easier to just tuck it all into one pocket, and then you can decide where you want to put it in your journal, or maybe you want to use it in some other journals or something. I don't know. And then it's just the same stuff going back the other direction. Okay. So it's a single signature. I have not counted the pages. I think it's probably right around 100 surfaces, and then the Tim Holtz paper, I just folded it to make like a little flap on the inside. You could make that into a pocket or something. You could even cut that off if you wanted to and make it into a couple of little tags. A couple of blank, one's a check and the other one's a deposit slip, vintage. And then also Karla had shown one of these little repair tags that she used in one of her videos, and I was like, oh my god, where'd she get those? So I had to find those and I did find them on Amazon. So anyway, so I just added one of those in there, and then you'll see that they're very flexible. So you don't have to necessarily wrap this around the journal part, the insert. You could just you could just fold it down like that. I mean, that would still work. I just wanted to show you that it's nice, that it's flexible. And so if you were to add like another insert in there, or an insert that's thicker than this, or as this grows, this will still wrap around and protect your pages. Okay. So yeah, so that's it. And there's 14 of these. They all look very similar in the listing image, like the thumbnail image. They all look very similar. There's more of this as the cover, this blue denim. There's more of this color than of the ticking. The minis that I made, they have more of the ticking, as you know, there's a larger number of them that have the ticking cloth on the outside. Because I was just trying to use as much of this blue denim as I could. So the larger pieces went for the larger journals, and then there was some that were for the, you know, the minis. Some smaller pieces that worked for the minis. So yeah, so there's the journals that I just listed in my shop, and those should be available as soon as I post this video. So now I am planning to do a live stream tomorrow, and that'll be on Monday. We'll say, let's start at about 5 p.m. Pacific time. So Eastern, that would be about 8 p.m. And I think that would be fun. And then I'll just, you know, have something that I'll work on as we chit chat, you know, and we'll talk about some pricing stuff. And then I have a list of, you know, kind of like questions, Q&A, like kind of a Q&A thing. And I have a bunch of questions that I've been notating, and I can answer those while we're working together. Okay, how's that sound? Sounds good to me. A lot of you responded to the last video and said that you would, you know, have fun with a live stream. So yeah, so I think that would be good, and that way I can, you know, try to answer questions that come up if you have any. And yeah, and I haven't live streamed for a long time, so that might help me sort of get back into the groove of doing videos again too. So who knows, it'll be good for all of us. And I miss you guys. I haven't streamed for so long, and I have some changes that are coming up that I'd like to talk to you guys about also, in regards to the subscriptions and stuff like that, and also kind of where I'm going with Etsy and blah blah blah. Anyway, okay, so go take a look at these. I will put a link in the description to my Etsy shop so you can find them quick. And yeah, and who knows, I mean, if they sell quickly, then I could probably get these packed up tonight or tomorrow and get them shipped out real soon. So okay, all right guys, I love you. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.